Hey guys, in yesterday's video I had Scratch on talking about why the community is passing on this fusion, at least the majority of the community. I put out this community tab poll a few days ago, 13,000 of you guys voted, and only 17% of you are going to go for Granite Doorkeep, the current fusion inside the game. Now, a little bit of this, reading through the comments, is just the overall attrition of fusions in the game, taking a break once in a while, maybe saving resources for the upcoming Leo event, the elusive Leo event here, as well as, some comments that I think is a good point too, that these ignore Stone Skin champions, especially given his underwhelming damage on some of the playtest out there on the dev build, they're very gear intensive, right? The champions like Granite, as opposed to maybe a support like Donatello, a lot easier to build, and I think that Donatello is really a top tier support in the game. Even comparing him with the last fusion that I put a poll up, at least, Crocad. 43% of you guys out of 15,000 votes were going for Crocad, which says a lot because really, to get the most out of Crocad, you need to have Packmaster Shayak as well. I'm curious, out of those 15,000, out of those who are going for him, how many of those 43% do you guys think actually completed the fusion? That we do not know. Anyway, back to my main point here. 18% of you, though, even more than the actual fusion, the legendary, were going for Hilda. Now, I'm going for Granite. I'm one of the 17%, but I figured I would max out Hilda today because I've seen some videos saying that she's way better than the fusion. She's a must-have epic. And I've seen other videos kind of underwhelmed overall by her. So today I figured I'd find out for myself and give you guys an honest take of how good or how bad she is. Let's jump into it. Just a random side note, guys, before we pull up our kit. I noticed that these offers, maybe it's just anecdotal, maybe it's just what I'm experiencing right now, but they've been pretty sky high. Does it feel like Plarium is jacking up their rates here? I mean, look at this one I have. 4 Sacred Shards for $80, and they price anchor with something like this, right? The 4 Sacred Shards for $80. They price anchor you to be like, oh, that's not that good of a deal. And then you go to the Elite Shard Pack, and you're like, oh, I get 3 and then 5 Voids and 10 for only $70, right? Sorry, I know this is such a side tangent here, but I would recommend you guys, if you are inclined to purchase and raid, go to hellhades.com/ or just Google search raid offer calculator, right? There's a bunch of them out there, and just put them in. How much should 4 Sacred Shards cost? $50. Not 80 or 70 or whatever it was, right? So just a heads up for you guys, apropos of absolutely nothing. All right, except for all these deals constantly popping up at me, right? All right, Hilda's a dwarf. She doesn't, I don't know, upon first glance, she seems not to really look very dwarfy to me. But either way, I guess she does a little bit. Hilda Arnorndottr. Is she like a distant cousin of Arnorn, maybe? Arnorn the Shining? I don't know. I didn't read the lore on these champions. Either way, I will say she looks amazing, right? Like, these champions have been incredible. I forgot who it was recently. I think it was maybe Drock. But like looking at some old champions from 2018, 2019, comparing them with some of the newer designs, it's just unbelievable how great these champions look. I really love the aesthetic of Hilda. So what does she do, right? Reviews early on are kind of mixed. They were really good out the gate. Actually, there's only 16 of them, so forget it. It's too anecdotal. What does she do? She's an attack-based champion with a triple hitter. Each hit ignores 10% of the target's defense. Each critical hit has a 100% chance of stealing a buff from the target. This is a nasty A1 ability. It's a nasty A1. You can steal 3 buffs at 100% clip on the A1. That's really cool with the ignore defense. Really cool. On the A2, Shatter Limbs 2-time hitter. Damage by the skill increases by 10% for each debuff on the target up to 100%. It can actually hit pretty hard when there's a lot of debuffs stacked on to the target. 10 debuffs, really, really big hits. Has a heal reduction for 2 turns as well. This is on a 3-turn cooldown. Fantastic for areas like Amos. However, it's hard to recommend maxing a champion just for Amos, given that you can't even use her on a lot, including the current rotation of Amos, right? On a lot of rotations, you can't even use her. So, like, it's hard. But yeah, she could be used for anywhere you need heal reduction, right? Nether Spider, Fire Knight, Amos, or the big 3, right? In my mind. On the AoE, on the A3, it's a 3-turn cooldown. She brings an increased attack not only for herself, but all allies. All allies, really solid, albeit a 2-turn duration on a 4-turn cooldown, 6 unbooked. But then she has a 60% chance when booked to placing an AoE stun as well. That's pretty dang good. On the passive, Fight Dirty. Allies deal 15% more damage to targets under heal reduction or a stun placed by this champion. That's very interesting too. If you can place the heal reduction and maybe spread it to waves or Hydra or whatever, I mean, that's a good damage escalation and something that you shouldn't be overlooked as well. She also has a attack in all battles by 20% on the aura. Let's take a quick look at her multipliers, right? Hellhades.com, they give her a 3.5, by the way, 3.5 score. You can see her area rankings as well. I tend to agree with this. Even Fire Knight Hard, I would love this champion to have freeze somewhere in her kit. That would make her like an absolute strong recommendation for anybody working on Fire Knight. She doesn't, but she can still be very useful getting that shield down, even in hard content, which I'll showcase in today's video. She's a pretty versatile champion. She's very good in wave content. They don't have the Centranos hard stages that she's available in listed yet on the website, but I will be looking forward to that certainly because, I mean, Centranos is very important nowadays, right? With all the basalt that we're able to get there, let alone all the other resources that are not energy intensive. You don't need energy, obviously. Arena, I was hoping for a little bit better after playtesting. I don't think she's much of a PvP champion personally. She has a 1.25 multiplier on her A1, but that's a triple hitter. With the ignore defense, her A1 can do some decent damage. Her A2 with the extra damage can smack. Without, it's okay. And then the AoE is a 3.7 multiplier. It doesn't hit that hard. You know, good damage, not insane damage. So that's going to be her damage profile. So again, not awful, but not insane, right? She's not going to like blow you away with her nukes, but she can be a nice damage dealer and a control champion and a debuffer for your team, okay? Let me show you the build that we have her in today, and then we'll take her into a battle. We have her in nuke build, right? Cruel and savage gear, a couple pinpoint, obviously running a pinpoint, a ring and an amulet on almost any champion in this game is incredible, especially champions that need accuracy, but getting the 10% speed there is absolutely just a game changer, right? It's a game changer from two areas where you can't get speed. I have a brand new artifact guide, how to build any champion, any type of champion in the game, going live in a few days as well. I have accuracy on the banner. She needs accuracy, obviously. We have speed on the boots. We have attack percentage on the chest. We have crit damage on the gauntlets. Very typical nuker build. We have Perch Shadow. Love this, right? She has a really nice A1 ability. We'll be using it a lot, whereas a 10% chance to receive an extra turn when using their default skill, if at least one active skill is on cooldown. This is great because it really helps us bring down the cooldown potentially of that A3 ability as well, thus having increased attack on our allies more often, thus getting back to those stuns for wave content as well. I really love, I released a video like 2 weeks ago talking about the 5 most powerful epic and rare relics that you should never sell. I'm talking singles, dupes, trips, quads, don't sell them, right? Perch Shadow was one of the 2 epics that I mentioned in that video. Maybe 3, 2 or 3. Either way, Perch Shadow is definitely in that conversation. It's one of the better epic relics inside the entire game. I don't have any awakening on her. And of course, we always say this, but half the battle in Raid Shadow Legends is getting the champion, and then you have to worry about all the rest of the stuff, right? The awakenings, the masteries, and everything else, the books that goes into these champions. That being said, I think that Nature's Wrath is the no-brainer. You could go Cruelty, I guess, but Nature's Wrath for me is a no-brainer on her, especially during longer battles, because she has those debuffs. She can quickly escalate her damage vis-a-vis Nature's Wrath. Let's talk about masteries really quickly here. 3 to point out. I like both Master Hexer to extend the duration of the heal reduction in her kit, as well as Lasting Gifts to extend the duration of the increased attack potentially to 3 turns, which is on a 4-turn cooldown when booked. And then, of course, Giant Slayer. She has a 2-time hitter on her A2, but she does have that triple hit with the ignore defense as well on the A1. Again, a very nice A1 with a buff steal as well. So Giant Slayer is going to be the way to go for her for a tier 6 damage mastery. Alrighty, let's go into battle, guys. What do you say? Let's see how much we like this champion. What was that offer that popped up? Glory awaits! Oh gosh, I'm gonna freaking do it. 9 and 3,300. We get 9 mythicals or primals, 3,300 energy, and that comes out to $42 rating. What is this elite offer? Glory awaits 60. Come on! They're jacking up the rates! Okay, I might be just tinfoil hat, but it seems like they're getting, you know what? It seems like my conspiracy tinfoil hat Ash is like, we're giving free gear removal. Now we need to slowly jack up the rates on everything that we sell in the game. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. All right, let's start out Fire Knight, right? Let's start with Fire Knight. See what you can do for damage as well. Let's go to Fire Knight. Let's go to Fire Knight hard. We'll go to stage 2. I put this team together for the Epic Dream Team Part 2. I'm going to make that a series. It'll be part 20 in a month from now. I love that series so much. We talk about most of these epics. I removed a couple just to add a little intrigue to you guys. But I like this series because it gives me an excuse to talk about new Epic champions all the time, right? So anyway, we had Epic Dream Team Part 2. She was obviously not a part of it, Hilda, but let's see what she can do compared to some of these epic studs on the team. We have Neldor Rhineblade for our control champion because he has freeze. We have Tagore because he's just freaking the best epic reviver in the game in terms of everything that he brings to the table, in my opinion. We have Dark Kale because he's insane. And we have Dirty Diana Gloompiercer, who is an incredibly underrated damage dealer and ally attacker Void Epic. Hilda, let's see how she does, how she compares here. You already saw her land some stuns, help with some control on that first wave, and there she goes again. 60% stun, I have her booked out here, is really useful in wave content. In Centranos especially, I'm going to bring her to the hardest awakening stage of Centranos, even though she's not awakened, and see what she can do in wave content right after this battle, so stay tuned for that. I want to also compare her damage, but I also want to be fair. A lot of these other epics on the team are fully empowered. They're fully awakened, some of them as well, so, you know, just don't hold it too much against, or at least factor that into your consideration when you look at the final numbers here. So she goes in with Shatter Limbs. That's her A2 ability. I don't have anything. I just have it full auto here, by the way. We get that shield down. That's why it's a shame she doesn't have a little bit of freeze. She gets the extra turn from the Pert Shadow, which is nice, but it, you know, would be really nice with the it would be really nice with the shield down, right? Or if we can go in and land that heal reduction, which we didn't. All right, so she's low on health right now, but hopefully, there we go. We get an ally attack in there. That's another triple hit. We could go, by the way, with Phantom Touch as a blessing on her against Fire Knight to get that extra chip on the shield. Now we're cooking here. That's the Shatter Limbs. We land that heal reduction. Beautiful. So again, Nether Spider, Amos, Fire Knight. Those are the big three heal reduction, and we have it here. And let's just pay attention to her damage here, guys. See all those fight dirties? See all those fight dirties over her head? That is that extra 15% damage because this boss, he has heal reduction, so we get the bonus, right? I think a lot of people were fixated on, the stun doesn't work on bosses, but heal reduction certainly does, right? So here we go. Even if they're not healers, it gives us a utility for heal reduction, right? Because we can get the extra damage, which is really nice. All right, another ally attack goes in. You can see the damage is pretty good from her, but it's not gonna like blow you away. I actually think her damage is kind of similar to maybe a Neldor, you know, as a comparison. Maybe a little bit better, but let's just see. So again, all those fight dirties, that's not going to show up on the stat sheet, right? You can probably tell that I'm a fan of this champion. I don't think she's an S-tier epic, but I think she's a really solid epic. A really solid epic. Not to ruin the end of the video or anything like that. I think she's worth going for a lot of players out there. Endgame players for restrictive content, progression and newer players for areas like Fire Knight, Nether Spider, Amos, and even wave content as well. So we're going to go in and... not bad, right? Fire Knight hard, took him down, didn't even need to revive, did we? I don't think so. So damage-wise, I mean, she led the team in damage. Again, really nice, really solid DPS here. She actually surprised me. I thought she'd be more in line with Neldor, who's +4 empowered, 5-star awakened. So that's really, really nice. Picture if Hilda was +4 empowered and 5-star awakened, her damage would certainly be, you know, significantly higher, right? Depending on where we went, probably 2.5, maybe even 3 million. Like, that's how much all of those bonuses help with building champions. I don't need to tell you guys. So really impressive there. Is Dirty Diana, is she in gear right now? Golly, I hope so, because that damage was really... Hey, we beat Fire Knight hard with a naked Dirty Diana Gloompiercer. Diana, what are you doing? You know what? I looked at those final numbers and I'm like, dude, Diana's way better than that. What the heck? But we still got the job done. Not bad for an all-epic team, I will say. Curse City, let's end the video here, guys. S24, I want to run some Polera Fireheart, just for the heck of it, guys. Hopefully you don't mind. I know not many people have her, and don't worry, you're not missing much. But I will say, she's a really, really cool champion. I still think she needs a buff, but yeah, you'll see her in action here. Anyway, let's lead. She's the fastest on the team here, so we're just going to go in with the AoE and the stun, right? So we land 3 stuns. I mean, perfect. We're going to use the second form of Polera here for some control. Not that we needed the back-to-back freeze and stuns, but let's see what this team can do. And again, let's do a little DPS check here as we go as well, right? Man, that Pert Shadow, that's nasty. The little built-in Relentless from a Relic, hell yeah. All right, here we go. This second wave, if I remember this correctly, is a real pain. We might wipe. I don't know. We've got Tyrell, we've got Polera, we've got Sylvedrakes, and we've got Neldor again. All right, Polera comes in with that freeze. That's really helpful, right? That's really helpful. Man, nice damage here, though. I think she's a really solid champion, guys. I think she's a really solid champion. I personally think, after playtesting her a little bit here, I played her a little bit more last night all around the game as well. I was underwhelmed in the arena in PvP. I don't think she's that great in PvP, personally, unless you're just, you know, really early progression or mid-game progression. She can deal some damage, she can stun, which is nice, but I think you could find better options out there, to be fair. But in areas like this, in Doom Tower Secret Rooms, just as a complimentary piece to a bunch of teams out there, I think she, even with that passive, don't underrate the extra damage that we can get from that passive. We saw it on the Fire Knight, right? That's really nice. That's really nice. I think she's a champion worth going for most players out there. Again, in the end game, we're looking at control in Doom Tower, in Cintranos, in areas, restrictive content like that, and progression. I think she can be used in the areas that I already mentioned. So overall, I think it's a solid champion. You know, I'm probably splitting hairs here, but I'd probably give her a 4, or I don't know. I mean, every account's different, right? A 4, maybe in a 4.5, just depending on your needs in those niche areas where she does shine, in my opinion. So guys, hopefully you enjoyed this guide. Overall, pretty intriguing champion. Damage-wise, again, she out-damages everybody except for Polera on the squad, which is not bad considering Polera is an awakened mythical. We'll end it there, guys. Thanks for watching. Much love, and as always, take care, guys.